The doorbell rang at 3:04 a.m. I know the exact time because I checked my phone when I woke up, thinking it was an emergency, a fire, an accident, a drunk neighbor who'd mixed up the houses. I expected anything but what I got. The doorbell rang again. Insistent. I rolled over. Laura wasn't in bed. Her side was still warm, the sheets pulled back like she'd just gotten up. Maybe she couldn't sleep. Maybe she'd gone downstairs for water. I pulled on my robe and walked downstairs. Through the frosted glass of our front door, I could see a figure, tall, swaying slightly. I opened the door. Tyler stood on my porch. My younger brother, 28 years old, drunk enough that he was leaning against the door frame for support. His eyes were unfocused, his shirt buttoned wrong. "Babe," he called out, his voice too loud for 3 a.m. in our quiet Philadelphia neighborhood. "Babe, you left your purse in my car?" He held it up. Brown leather. Expensive. The Gucci bag I'd bought Laura for her birthday last year, the one she said she only carried on special occasions. I stared at him, at the bag, at his drunken, stupid grin. "Tyler," I said, my voice sounded far away. "What are you doing here?" He blinked at me, slowly, like his brain was trying to catch up with his eyes. "Michael?" He looked confused, then panicked. I thought..." Behind him, 2 houses down, I saw Laura's car, her silver Honda Civic parked at an angle like she'd been in a hurry. Everything stopped. The world didn't crash down. It didn't explode, it just stopped. Like someone had pressed pause on my life, and I was standing there in my bathrobe at 3 a.m., holding my breath, waiting for someone to press play again. "Where's Laura?" I asked. Tyler's face went white. Even drunk, he understood. He'd made a mistake, a big one. Michael, I can explain. Where is Laura?" I heard footsteps behind me, turned. Laura was coming down the stairs, wearing the clothes she'd gone to bed in. No, not the clothes she'd gone to bed in. These were different, fresh, like she'd changed. She saw Tyler, saw the bag, saw me. "Michael," she said, "just my name, nothing else." I looked at my wife, at my brother, at the expensive purse that was supposed to be for special occasions. I thought I was going to pass out, or scream, or hit something. Instead, I heard myself ask very quietly, "How long?" Laura's eyes filled with tears. Tyler looked at his feet. Across the street, Mrs. Henderson's porch light turned on. I could feel her watching through her window. "Come inside," I said. My voice sounded dead. "Both of you. Now." We sat in the living room, Laura on the couch, Tyler in the armchair by the window, still holding that damn purse. Me, standing. I couldn't sit. If I sat, I might never get up. 8 months, Laura said finally. 8 months. 240 days. 32 Thursdays when she'd said she was going to book club. How many lies could you fit into 8 months? Why? I looked at Tyler, at the brother I'd raised, the brother I'd given up everything for. He didn't answer, just stared at the purse in his hands, turning it over and over. "He made me feel seen," Laura said. Her voice was small, broken. "Michael, you're never home. You're always working or helping students or helping Tyler with something, and he paid attention to me." I wanted to laugh. It was so absurd. I'd spent 15 years paying attention to Tyler, making sure he had everything he needed, and he'd repaid me by taking my wife. "Get out," I said to Tyler. He stood up, dropped the purse on the chair, looked at me like he wanted to say something. "Don't," I said, "just don't." He left. The front door clicked shut behind him, so quiet, like the ending of My Family barely made a sound. Laura was crying now, big, gasping sobs that shook her whole body. "I'm sorry," she kept saying. "I'm so sorry, Michael. I didn't mean for it to happen." But it did happen. For 8 months it happened. I needed to understand, needed to know how we'd gotten here. So I sat down next to her, keeping distance between us like she was a stranger, and said, tell me everything. And she did. 15 years earlier, I was 26 years old with a full scholarship to graduate school, University of Pennsylvania, English literature, a $60,000 fellowship. My advisor, Dr. Patterson, called it the opportunity of a lifetime. I was packing my apartment when the police came to tell me my parents were dead. Car accident, December 18th, 2009. A truck ran a red light. They died instantly, together. At least there was that. Tyler was 13, 8th grade, failing every class because he spent all his time in his room, grieving for parents who'd barely been in the ground 2 weeks. The social worker sat across from me in the lawyer's office and said, "Tyler has no other family. It's you or it's foster care." I looked at the graduate school acceptance letter in my hands, at the scholarship paperwork, at the future I'd spent 4 years working toward. Then I looked at Tyler's school report card, all Fs, a note from his counselor. Tyler needs consistent support. He's at risk. Dr. Patterson called me that night. "Michael, are you sure?" he asked. "You're throwing away a full scholarship. This is your future." "I know," I said, "but Tyler was my brother, 13 years old and orphaned. What kind of person would I be if I chose a degree over him?" I tore up the acceptance letter, called the fellowship office, told them I couldn't accept. I moved back into my parents' house, got a job teaching high school English, not what I'd planned, but it paid the bills, signed up as Tyler's legal guardian. That first night, he came into the living room where I was sleeping on the couch. I'd given him the master bedroom thinking he needed the space, and he asked me, "Will you be my brother and my dad?" I was exhausted, grieving, terrified I was making the wrong choice. But I looked at this kid, skinny, scared, eyes still red from crying, and I said, "Yes, I promise." I had no idea what that promise would cost. Back in our living room, Laura was still talking, still explaining. "It started at your school," she said. "I came to drop off your lunch. You'd forgotten it again, and Tyler was there, visiting. He said he wanted to see where you worked." I remembered that day. March. Tyler had driven up from his apartment in Center City, said he wanted to take me to lunch. I'd been touched. We hadn't done that in months. "We got coffee after," Laura continued. "Just talking. He asked about me, about my job, about what I like to do." "Michael, when was the last time you asked me what I like to do?" The accusation hung in the air, and she was right. I couldn't remember. "He started texting me," she said. "Just friendly at first, funny memes, articles he thought I'd like. Then he started calling, asking how my day was, and I liked it. God help me, I liked feeling like someone cared." "I cared," I said. "Did you?" She looked at me, really looked at me. "Our anniversary was coming up. I wanted to go to Vermont, that bed and breakfast we went to when we were dating. You said no because Tyler needed money for some investment opportunity. The $50,000 loan request. I'd said no because the investment was clearly a scam. Tyler had come to me 8 times in 3 years asking for money. I'd given it to him 7 times. The 8th, I finally drew a line. "So you decided to sleep with my brother?" "No, I decided to have coffee with someone who listened. The rest, it just happened." Nothing just happens. Not for 8 months. Not through 14 hotel check-ins under fake names. Not through hundreds of deleted text messages. But I was too tired to argue. "Where?" I asked. "Wait, what? Where did it happen?" She closed her eyes. "Mostly hotels. Sometimes here, when you were teaching your Thursday afternoon classes. Thursdays, my SAT prep class. I taught underprivileged kids for free, helping them get college scholarships. While I was trying to give other people's children a better future, my wife and brother were in my house, in my bed. I thought I was going to be sick." "I need you to leave," I said. "Michael, not forever, just tonight, tomorrow. I need time to think. Pack a bag, stay at your sister's, I can't look at you right now. She nodded, stood up, walked toward the stairs. Laura, I called. She turned. The journal, the one you keep in your nightstand. I want to read it. Her face went pale. Michael, that's private. 8 months of fucking my brother in my house wasn't private. The journal. Now. She went upstairs, came back down 5 minutes later with a small leather-bound notebook and an overnight bag. She set the journal on the coffee table, looked at me one more time. I did love you, she said. I still do. I forgot how. Then she left. I sat alone in my living room with my wife's journal. The leather was soft under my fingers. Expensive. A Christmas gift from 2 years ago. I'd never seen her write in it, never asked what she wrote about. I'd assumed it was her private space, her therapy. I opened to the first page. The date was March 22nd, 2024, 8 months ago. The first entry read, Tyler came by today while Michael was at work. We talked for 3 hours. He asked about my dreams, the ones I had before I became Michael's wife. No one has asked me that in years. He said Michael is lucky to have me, that I deserve to be someone's priority. I don't know why I'm writing this down. Maybe because it felt good to be seen. Maybe because I know it's dangerous to feel this good. Tyler said, Michael never loved you the way he could. He loves what you represent. Stability, normalcy. But does he know who you are? Maybe he's right. I closed the journal, couldn't read more, not yet. But I saw there were 11 entries total. 11 times Laura had written about my brother, about feeling seen, about falling in love with someone who wasn't her husband. The clock on the wall said 4:47 a.m. In a few hours, Sophie would wake up. My 9-year-old daughter. I'd have to tell her something, some version of the truth that wouldn't destroy her. I thought about Tyler, about the night he'd asked me to be his brother and his dad, about every sacrifice I'd made, grad school, career advancement, money, time, energy. 15 years of putting him first, and he'd repaid me by destroying my marriage. I sat there as the sun came up, holding Laura's journal, and I thought, did Tyler seduce my wife because he loved her or because he wanted to destroy me? I needed to know. The next morning, Sophie came downstairs at 7:15 like always. She was wearing her favorite pajamas, the ones with the stars, and carrying her stuffed elephant. Morning, Daddy, she said, climbing into my lap. I held her, breathed in the smell of her strawberry shampoo, tried to memorize this moment before everything changed. Where's Mommy? She asked. Mommy had to go help Aunt Sarah. I lied. She'll be back soon. Oh, can you make pancakes? I made pancakes. We ate breakfast. I got her ready for school. Normal routine, normal morning, except nothing was normal anymore. After I dropped Sophie off, I called Tyler. He answered on the first ring. Michael, coffee shop on Market Street, 1 hour. If you don't show up, I'm calling Mom and Dad's lawyer and cutting you out of the inheritance entirely. I'll be there, he said quietly. I hung up. The coffee shop was crowded. Business people getting their morning caffeine, students on laptops, the smell of espresso and burned toast. Tyler was already there when I arrived, sitting in the back corner. He looked terrible, hungover, scared. I sat down across from him, didn't order anything, just stared at him until he met my eyes. Say something, I said. Explain it to me. He wrapped both hands around his coffee cup. I noticed they were shaking. I don't know where to start. Start with why. He was quiet for a long time. The coffee cup trembled in his hands, then it cracked. A sharp sound that made the people at the next table look over. Coffee spilled across the table. Tyler didn't move to clean it up, just stared at the spreading brown stain. You want to know why? He said finally. His voice was different, harder. You really want to know? Yes, because you controlled me my whole life. I blinked. What? From the moment mom and dad died, you made every decision for me. Where I lived, what I studied, who I dated. You loaned me money, but only for things you approved of. You gave me advice I never asked for. You've been my guardian, my mentor, my bank, my conscience, but never just my brother. I raised you. I know! He was shouting now. The whole coffee shop was watching. I know you raised me, Michael. I know you gave up grad school. I know you sacrificed. You've made sure I've known it every single day for 15 years. I sat back, stunned. I wanted to go to art school. Tyler continued, quieter now. Remember, I want to study photography in New York. You said it was impractical, that I needed a real degree. So I went to business school. Your choice. I wanted to live in California. You said Philadelphia was more stable, so I stayed. Your choice. I asked you for money for the crypto mining business. Stupid, I know now, but I wanted to try. And you said no. Said I needed to make better decisions. Your decision. I was trying to help. You were trying to control. And for 15 years, I let you. Because I owed you. Because you saved me. Because I was supposed to be grateful. He leaned forward. His eyes were red. Not from drinking, from crying. Then I met Laura, your wife, the woman you love more than you ever loved me, and I realized this was my chance to take something from you, my chance to finally make a choice you didn't approve of, my chance to feel like you're equal instead of your project. My throat was tight. So you destroyed my marriage. That was your solution, to finally feel equal? I wanted you to feel what I felt. Powerless, out of control, watching something you love slip away while you can't do anything to stop it. He stood up to leave. I grabbed his arm, the arm I'd taught to throw a baseball when he was 14, the arm I'd helped set when he broke it at 16, the arm that had been around my wife's body for 8 months. Did you love her? I asked, or was she just revenge? Tyler looked at me, and for a second I saw the 13-year-old boy who'd asked me to be his brother and his dad, scared, lost, needing someone to tell him what to do. I don't know, he said honestly. Maybe both, maybe neither. Maybe I just wanted to hurt you the way you hurt me. I never hurt you. He laughed, a bitter sound. You did, Michael. Every time you sacrificed something, every time you went without, every time you were so goddamn good, you made me feel like I owed you my life. And I'm 28 years old, and I still feel like that scared kid waiting for your approval. He pulled his arm free. I'm sorry I slept with your wife. I'm not sorry you finally know what it feels like to lose. He walked out of the coffee shop. I sat there alone, surrounded by strangers, and thought, I raised you. I gave you everything, and you destroyed me because I loved you too much. That night, after Sophie went to bed, I did what I'd been avoiding all day. I read the rest of Laura's journal. Entry number 3, April 2nd. Tyler and I had coffee again. He told me about growing up with Michael, how Michael always meant well, but it felt suffocating, how he felt like a charity case instead of a brother. I understand that feeling. Sometimes I feel like Michael's wife in name only, like I'm just another responsibility he checks off his list. Entry number 5, May 10th. We kissed today, in his car after lunch. I know this is wrong. I know I should stop. But God, I haven't felt this alive in years. Entry number 7, June 1st. Tyler said something today that I can't stop thinking about. When should we do it? When should we stop pretending this is just friendship? I told him I needed time. He said, your husband is too busy being a saint to notice you're unhappy. I see you. I choose you. I've never felt so wanted. Entry number 11, October 15th. I think I'm in love with him, not the fantasy version, the real Tyler, broken, angry, lost, just like me. We fit together in a way Michael and I never did. Is it possible to love two people at once? Is it possible to hate yourself and feel alive at the same time? I closed the journal. Laura hadn't just had an affair. She'd fallen in love with my brother. While I was teaching kids how to get into college, while I was making sure Tyler's rent was paid, while I was living my responsible, controlled, careful life, they were building something together, and I'd never noticed. I was sitting in the dark when Sophie's voice startled me. "Daddy?" She was standing in the doorway, holding her stuffed elephant. "Sweetheart, it's late. What are you doing up?" "I had a bad dream." She climbed into my lap. "Is Mommy coming home soon?" I held her, my daughter, 9 years old, about to have her world torn apart because 2 adults couldn't keep their promises. "Maybe not for a while, honey." "Did Mommy and you have a fight?" Kids always know, even when you try to protect them. "Yeah, we did." "Was it about Uncle Tyler?" I went still. "What do you mean?" Sophie looked up at me with her big brown eyes like her mother's. "Uncle Tyler used to come over a lot when you were at work. He brought Mommy flowers sometimes, and he gave her special jewelry, the pretty bracelet with the words on it." My heart stopped. "What did the words say, Sophie?" "I don't know. I can't read cursive yet, but Mommy wore it all the time. She said it was her favorite." I set Sophie down gently. "Show me." We went upstairs to the bedroom. Sophie pointed to Laura's jewelry box on the dresser. "In there," she said. I opened it. On top of everything else, my grandmother's pearls, the necklace I'd given Laura on our wedding day, her mother's watch, was a gold bracelet. Simple, elegant, expensive. I picked it up, turned it over, engraved on the inside. Finally seen. Tyler had given my wife jewelry. Jewelry she wore every day. Jewelry my daughter had seen. "Sophie," I said, keeping my voice calm, "did Uncle Tyler come over a lot?" "Uh-huh. Every Thursday after school, he picked Mommy up. She said they were going to book club." "Every Thursday. For how long?" "Did you ever go with them?" "No. Uncle Tyler said it was grown-up time, but he always brought me ice cream before they left. We'd eat it together, and then he'd say, 'This is our secret, okay? Don't tell Daddy, because he'll want ice cream too, and we already ate it all.'" Our secret. Tyler had bribed my daughter with ice cream to keep his affair with my wife a secret. "Sophie," I said, my voice breaking, "did I do something wrong? Is that why Uncle Tyler doesn't look at me anymore?" I pulled her close. This beautiful, innocent child who'd been caught in the middle of adult betrayal and didn't even know it. "No, baby, you didn't do anything wrong. Nothing at all. This is grown-up stuff. Complicated stuff." "Are you sad, Daddy?" "Yeah, I'm really sad." "It's okay to cry," she said, patting my shoulder like I'd taught her. "You taught me that." So I cried, holding my daughter, surrounded by evidence of my wife's affair with my brother. And I thought, Tyler didn't just betray me. He used my child. He stood in my house, ate ice cream with my daughter, and then took my wife to hotels while I was teaching other people's kids about having a better future. If you've ever had a moment where you realized your children were caught in adult betrayal, where their innocence was stolen by someone else's choices, you know this feeling. That helpless rage mixed with desperate love. You want to protect them from the truth, but the truth is already there, hiding in ice cream memories and secret Thursdays. After Sophie went back to bed, I found the box in the garage, the one with all of Sophie's drawings from the past year. I'd saved them all. Proud dad, covering the fridge, keeping the best ones in a special box. I started looking through them. There, dated 6 months ago, a crayon drawing. 2 stick figures holding hands. One tall with dark hair, one shorter with long hair, a heart between them. At the bottom, in Sophie's careful print, Mommy and Uncle Tyler at the park. The drawing had been on our fridge for 2 weeks. I'd smiled at it, thought it was sweet that Tyler spent time with Laura and Sophie. I hadn't known I was looking at evidence of my brother destroying my family. I found 5 more drawings, all variations on the same theme. Mommy and Uncle Tyler. Sometimes with Sophie, sometimes alone. Always holding hands, always with hearts. My daughter had documented her mother's affair in crayon, and I'd hung the evidence on the refrigerator. I sat on the cold garage floor, surrounded by children's artwork, and I understood. I'd been blind, not just to the affair, to everything, to Laura's loneliness, to Tyler's resentment, to the ways I'd controlled people in the name of helping them. But understanding doesn't equal forgiveness. I called a lawyer that night. Divorce, custody. I wanted Sophie, full custody, or as close as I could get. Then I hired a digital forensics expert. If Laura and Tyler had been communicating, there would be evidence, text messages, emails, photos. 8 months of an affair didn't happen without a digital trail. I was done being the good guy who got betrayed. It was time to find out exactly what my wife and brother had done, and how deep the lies went. The digital forensics expert's name was Marcus Chen. No, wait. The outline said no Asian names. Marcus Clark. He came recommended by my lawyer, and he worked out of a small office above a deli in Old City. Most people think deleting messages makes them disappear, Marcus said, connecting Laura's phone to his laptop. They don't. Not really, especially not if you're backing up to the cloud. I'd gotten Laura's phone from the house while she was at work. Technically illegal, but I was past caring about technicalities. How long will this take? I asked. Depends on how much they tried to hide. If they were using WhatsApp with disappearing messages, that's harder. But people always mess up. They forget one backup, one screenshot, one moment where they thought they were safe. He typed rapidly, screens flashing across his monitor. Here, he said after 20 minutes, WhatsApp. They deleted 847 messages. He deleted 1203. Can you recover them? Most of them. The cloud backup was set to weekly. We'll miss the most recent week, but everything before that. He clicked. Yeah, we've got it. A spreadsheet appeared on his screen. Dates, times, message previews. You want me to print this out, or do you want to read it here? I couldn't speak, just stared at the numbers. 847 messages, Laura deleted. 1203, Tyler deleted. Over 2,000 pieces of evidence they thought were gone. Print it, I said finally. All of it. I read the messages in my car. Couldn't face going home. Couldn't face Sophie asking questions I didn't have answers to yet. The first message was dated March 16th, 2024. One day after I'd sent Tyler the email saying no to the $50,000 loan. Tyler to Laura. Hey, is Michael around? Need to talk to him about something. Laura to Tyler. He's at work. Everything okay? Tyler to Laura. Not really. He said no to helping me with the investment. Said I need to make better decisions. Like he's my parent instead of my brother. Laura to Tyler. I'm sorry. He means well. Tyler to Laura. Does he? Or does he just like being the one in control? 3 messages. Innocent enough. But I could see the shape of what was coming. The messages escalated slowly. Tyler complaining about me. Laura defending me at first, then less and less. Tyler asking about her day. Laura responding with more detail than she'd ever shared with me. Then March 22nd, Tyler to Laura. Want to get coffee? I could use a friend right now. Laura to Tyler. Sure. When? Tyler to Laura. Tomorrow, that cafe you like in Rittenhouse. The first coffee date, the one Laura had mentioned in her journal. After that, the messages came daily, then multiple times a day. Flirting disguised as friendship, friendship bleeding into something else. April 18th, Tyler to Laura. Your husband is too busy being a saint to notice you're unhappy. I see you. Laura to Tyler. You can't say things like that. Tyler to Laura. Why not? It's true. You deserve someone who chooses you first, not someone who puts you third after work and his role as my keeper. April, Justin 20th. Laura to Tyler. I haven't stopped thinking about what you said. Tyler to Laura. Good. You should be someone's priority, Laura. You should be the priority. May Rern, the first time they met at a hotel. Tyler to Laura, room 312, Hampton Inn on Delaware Ave, 2 p.m. Bring nothing but yourself. Laura to Tyler, this is crazy. Tyler to Laura, crazy is staying with someone who doesn't see you. This is the sanest thing either of us have done in years. Laura to Tyler, I'm scared. Tyler to Laura, me too, but I'd rather be scared with you than safe and alone. I had to stop reading, pulled over to the side of the road, and just breathed. These weren't just affair messages. They were seduction, calculated, deliberate. Tyler knew exactly what he was doing. He'd found every crack in my marriage and exploited it. But Laura had chosen to go to that hotel, had chosen to keep going back. The later messages were worse, more intimate. Plans for Thursday afternoons, complaints about me, ways they could meet without getting caught. June 14th, Tyler to Laura. He's never home on Thursdays. Let me show you what you've been missing. Laura to Tyler. Sophie has art class until 4. We'd have to be done by 3:30. Tyler to Laura. Plenty of time. Trust me. They'd timed their affair around my daughter's art class schedule. The most recent message was from a week ago. Laura to Tyler. I think I love you. Is that crazy? Tyler to Laura. If it is, we're both crazy. But I've never felt this way about anyone, not even close. I sat in my car and understood. This wasn't passion. This wasn't a moment of weakness that got out of hand. This was strategy. Tyler had waited until I rejected him. Then he'd gone after the person I loved most. 7 days between my no and his first message to Laura. 1 week to decide that destroying my marriage was appropriate payback for not funding his crypto scam. That night, I went through my sent emails, found the one I'd sent Tyler 9 months ago. Subject, Reinvestment Opportunity Loan Request. Tyler, I love you, but I can't keep enabling your poor decisions. This crypto mining business is a scam. The people running it have no credentials, no business plan, and no legitimate way to generate the returns they're promising. I've helped you financially 8 times in the past 3 years. Rent, car repairs, credit card debt, medical bills. I've never asked for repayment because you're my brother, but I can't give you 50 Kalas to throw away on something that will fail. I'm saying no because I care about your future. Please trust that I'm trying to help, not control. Michael, I thought it was a loving message, firm but caring, protecting Tyler from himself. But I'd found Tyler's reply in his trash folder, the one he'd never sent. Michael, you've controlled me long enough. I've been asking permission to live my life since I was 13. Well, I'm 28 now, and I'm done. You want to know what your help feels like? It feels like a leash. A golden leash, sure, but still a leash. Every dollar you give me comes with conditions. Every piece of advice comes with judgment. Every I love you comes with, but you need to do better. I don't need a father, Michael. I needed a brother. But you've been too busy being my savior to see that. You want to help me? Stop. Just, stop. Let me make my own mistakes. Let me live my own life. Let me feel like a man instead of your perpetual child. But you won't. Because then what would you be? Without me to save? Without students to mentor? Without Laura to provide stability for... Who are you? I'm not sending this because I know you won't understand. You'll just see it as more proof that I'm ungrateful, that I don't appreciate your sacrifice. Maybe I don't. Maybe I hate your sacrifice. Maybe I'm tired of being the reason you gave up your dreams. Fuck your 50K. I'll figure it out myself. Tyler, he'd never sent it, but he'd kept it. And 1 week later, he'd sent that first message to Laura. March 15th, March 22nd, Tyler's first text to Laura. 7 days. That's how long it took for my brother to decide destroying my marriage was payback. The next day, I went to see Father Martinez. Our family had been going to St. Joseph's Church since we moved to Philadelphia. Father Martinez had known my parents, had officiated their funeral, had counseled Tyler through his grief, had married Laura and me. He was in the rectory when I arrived, reading his breviary. "Michael," he said, standing. His face showed concern. "I heard," Laura called. "She said you two are having difficulties." "Difficulties," I laughed. "That's one way to put it. Would you like to talk?" So I told him. Everything. The doorbell, the affair, Tyler, the messages, the evidence mounting like stones on my chest. Father Martinez listened without interrupting. When I finished, he was quiet for a long time. "Michael," he said finally, "I need to tell you something. I'm bound by the seal of confession, but Tyler gave me written permission to share this with you if you ever asked." He pulled out a folder. Inside was a single sheet of paper with Tyler's signature at the bottom. Tyler came to confession 3 months ago, July. He was distraught. Said he'd committed a sin he knew was unforgivable, but he couldn't stop. My stomach dropped. What did he say? Father Martinez looked old suddenly, tired. He said, "I've hurt my brother in the worst way, and I know it's unforgivable, but I can't stop. He's too good, Father. He's too perfect. And I need him to feel what I felt, powerless. I need him to understand what it's like when someone else controls your happiness." 3 months ago, July, right in the middle of the affair. "He knew it was wrong," I said. "He knew, and he kept doing it." "Yes, I counseled him to end it. To confess to you, to seek forgiveness. He said he would, but then he didn't come back." Father Martinez handed me something else, a rosary. "He left this in the confessional. I kept it, thinking he'd return for it, but he never did." I held the rosary, black beads, worn from use. I recognized it. I'd given it to Tyler on his confirmation day when he was 16. He was suffering, Michael. That doesn't excuse what he did, but I think he was trying to hurt you because he was hurting, and he didn't know any other way. That's not good enough. "No," Father Martinez agreed. "It's not. But understanding someone's pain doesn't mean you have to forgive their actions. You can hold both truths at once." I left the church with Tyler's rosary in my pocket and a new understanding. Tyler had a conscience. He knew what he was doing was wrong. He'd sought forgiveness from God while continuing to betray me. That made it worse somehow. A moment of weakness I could understand. But calculated sin? Sin you confess to a priest but won't stop committing? That was something else entirely. Marcus called 2 days later. "Got something else," he said, "in financial records. You said to look for everything." "What did you find?" "Hotel receipts. Your wife opened a credit card in a fake name. Victoria Stevens. Paid for by you, indirectly. Tyler's been using money from old loans you gave him to pay it off each month." He emailed me the file. 14 receipts. All Hampton Inn on Delaware Avenue. All room 312. All Thursdays between 2 p.m. and 5 p.m. Check-in dates spanning from May through October. 14 Thursdays. 14 times I'd come home from teaching SAT prep, helping low-income students achieve their dreams, and Laura had smiled and said book club was enlightening today. I looked at my calendar. Every single Thursday for 6 months, I'd had my extra class, teaching kids about essay structure and vocabulary, teaching them about having a future, while my wife and brother were 3 miles away, playing house in a hotel room paid for with my money. The hotel manager agreed to meet me the next day. "Mr. and Mrs. Stevens," he said, checking his computer. "Yes, I remember them. Very affectionate couple. I thought they were newlyweds." "What did they look like?" He described Laura, then Tyler. "They usually arrive separately," he continued. "Mrs. Stevens first, then Mr. Stevens about 15 minutes later. They'd stay for about an hour, sometimes 2. Always left separately as well. Very discreet. Discreet. They'd been discreet about destroying my family." "Did they ever mention anything personal? Anything that stood out?" The manager thought for a moment. "Once," he said. I was bringing extra towels. Mrs. Stevens had called for them, and I heard them talking through the door. She said something like, "This feels wrong," and he said, "What feels wrong is you staying with someone who doesn't choose you." Then they laughed. He said it casually, like it was a sweet anecdote about young love. But those words, "someone who doesn't choose you," echoed because I had chosen Laura, chosen her every day for 12 years, chosen to build a life with her, to have a child with her. I'd just also chosen to be responsible, to work hard, to help my brother, to teach kids who needed help. I thought choosing multiple things made me a good person. Tyler had convinced Laura it made me a bad husband. I found the note by accident. I was going through the family photo album, the one I'd kept since Tyler came to live with me, looking for, I don't know what, evidence of when things went wrong, signs I'd missed. The album was chronological. Tyler at 13, small, scared, swimming in one of my old sweatshirts. Tyler at 15, taller, starting to look like Dad. Tyler at 18, graduating high school, scholarship to Penn State for business. I'd been so proud that day. Stood in the crowd with Laura, watching Tyler walk across that stage and thought, we did it. He's going to be okay. But looking now, really looking at the photos, I saw something I'd missed before. In every picture, Tyler stood apart. At family dinners, he was at the end of the table. At Christmas, he was in the corner of the frame. At Sophie's baptism, he was 3 feet away from everyone else. His smile never reached his eyes. And in the recent photos, the last 2 years, he wasn't smiling at all, just staring at the camera with this emptiness. Laura had been right. The signs were there. I'd just been too busy being proud of myself for raising him to notice he was drowning. Tucked between 2 pages, photos of Tyler's college graduation, was a folded piece of paper. I pulled it out, unfolded it. It was a letter, Tyler's handwriting, dated 2 months ago. Dear Michael, I hate that I need you. I hate that I love you. I hate that destroying you is the only way I feel equal. You were 26 when they died. I was 13. You chose to raise me. I never asked you to, but you did, and now I'm 28 years old, and I still feel like a child waiting for your approval. Laura said you don't see her, but Michael, you've never seen me. Not as a man, just as the boy you saved, the project you completed, the living proof that you're a good person. So I took the woman you love, and for 8 months I've felt like you're equal. Not your burden, not your responsibility, you're equal. I'm sorry, I'm not sorry. I don't know which is true anymore. Maybe I'll give you this letter someday. Maybe I'll burn it. Maybe I'll keep it hidden in this photo album and you'll never find it because you never look back, only forward to the next person who needs saving. I destroyed your marriage because it was the only way to destroy the pedestal you put yourself on, the only way to prove that perfect Michael Davis can lose just like the rest of us. Does that make me a monster? Probably. Does it make me free? I thought it would, but I just feel empty. Tyler. I read it 3 times. Then I sat on the floor of my living room, surrounded by 15 years of photos, documenting a relationship I thought was healing, and I realized there was no version of this where we both survived as brothers. Tyler didn't seduce Laura because he loved her. He did it to destroy me, to feel equal, to prove I could lose. And the worst part? He'd succeeded. Here's my question for you. Is Tyler the victim of my control, or is he the villain who weaponized his own pain? I genuinely want to know where you stand on this, because I've been thinking about it for weeks now, and I still don't have an answer. I needed to confront him face to face. No coffee shops with witnesses, no phone calls where he could hang up. I texted him, Mom and Dad's grave, tomorrow, noon. Be there or I'm done with you forever. He responded immediately, I'll be there. The cemetery was quiet. December in Philadelphia, cold, gray, the kind of day where your breath makes clouds and the ground is too frozen for fresh graves. My parents' headstone was simple: David and Helen Davis. 1960, 2009, beloved parents gone too soon. I'd been visiting every week for 15 years, brought flowers, told them about Tyler, about Sophie, about life. Tyler never came, not once in 15 years, but he was there when I arrived, standing by the grave, hands in his pockets, a flask of whiskey visible in his coat. We stared at each other across our parents' grave. "Say something," I said. He took a drink from the flask. His hands were shaking. "I don't know where to start." "Start with the truth. Did you love her? Or was Laura just your way of getting back at me?" He was quiet for so long I thought he wouldn't answer. Then, "Both. Neither. I don't know. Maybe I convinced myself I loved her because it justified what I was doing. Maybe she was just convenient, available, a way to hurt you." "That's honest, at least." "You want honesty?" His voice rose. "Fine. I hated you, Michael. I've hated you for years. Do you know what it's like being saved? Being someone's project? Walking around knowing everyone sees you as poor Tyler. Thank God for Michael." "I never—" "You did!" He was shouting now. The cemetery groundskeeper looked over from across the lawn. "You raised me. You sacrificed. You gave up everything. And you've made sure I've known it every single day." He took another drink. "Every teacher, every girlfriend, every job interview. Oh, you're Michael Davis's brother. He's such a good man, raising you alone." "I wasn't a person, Michael. I was your good deed. Your proof that you're better than everyone else." "That's not fair, isn't it?" He was in my face now, whiskey on his breath, tears in his eyes. "You took my childhood. Mom and Dad died, and you got to be the hero while I had to be grateful. You want to know why Laura? Because you love her more than you ever loved me. And for once, just once, I wanted to take something from you that mattered." The truth of it hit me like a physical blow. "Did you even love her?" I asked again. He pulled out the crumpled letter, the one I'd found in the photo album. "You found this," he said. "I can tell by your face. Answer the question." "I don't know." He was crying now. Real tears. "Maybe I loved her. Maybe she was just the only way to hurt you the way you hurt me." "I never hurt you." "You did. Every time you sacrificed, every time you went without, every time you were good, you made me feel like I owed you my life. This letter, I was going to give it to you after I destroyed you enough that we'd finally be even." He laughed bitterly. "But we're not even. We'll never be even. Because I can't compete with St. Michael. I can only tear you down." I looked at him, this man I'd raised, this stranger who'd shared my wife's bed for 8 months, this brother I loved and hated in equal measure. And I understood something terrible. Tyler had a point. I had controlled him, not with cruelty, but with kindness, with sacrifice, with being so goddamn good that he could never measure up. I'd made him feel like a permanent child, and when he'd finally tried to become a man in the worst possible way, I judged him for it. But understanding didn't equal forgiveness. "You took 8 months, I said quietly. 8 months of planning, lying, sneaking around. If you wanted to hurt me, you could have done it in 1 day. Told me you resented me. Told me you felt controlled. We could have worked through it, gone to therapy, set boundaries. Would you have listened? I don't know, but you didn't give me the chance. You chose the nuclear option. You chose Laura. You chose to involve my daughter. You chose to use my money to pay for hotel rooms. You chose to confess your sins to a priest, but not to me. I stepped closer. I raised you, Tyler. I gave you everything I had, and you repaid me by trying to take everything I loved. This money? I pulled out an envelope. Mom and Dad's inheritance, $120,000. It's yours. Take it and build a life that doesn't include me, because I can't do this anymore. He stared at the envelope like it might bite him. This isn't reconciliation, I continued. This is closure. You wanted to be free of me? Congratulations, you're free. Michael, I still love you, but I can't have you in my life. You crossed a line I didn't even know existed. What if I got therapy? What if I proved I changed? Then I'll be happy for you from a distance. You need to build a life that isn't about me, proving yourself to me, or getting revenge on me. I can't be in your story anymore. Tyler's face crumpled. You're my only family. I was, but family doesn't do what you did. I turned to leave. Michael, he called after me, his voice breaking. Michael, please. I kept walking, away from my brother, away from 15 years of sacrifice that had earned me nothing but betrayal, and it felt like freedom and death all at once. Death.